guys, Joe here, and I'm taking a little retreat, which has been amazing, but I really never stop cooking, and I thought of everyone because last week I did like a party grilled cheese, which is so much fun, especially during like a quarantine lockdown time. You're inside, you need something fun to eat, a new recipe, and maybe something the kids can make. So this is another recipe along those lines. I don't know if you've had shakshuka before, but it's sort of making the rounds these days. It's actually, I believe, a North African dish. Maybe it's Moroccan, but you see it in a lot of Mediterranean countries, and particularly in Israel, this is a really big dish. But I'm not going to teach you how to make a regular shakshuka, which essentially is eggs cooked in kind of a tomato sauce. I've done it before with tomatillos. You can kind of get really creative, cook it in sort of a vegetable sauce. And it's really great because it's one dish, all goes in the same pot, and it feeds a crowd. So that's really fun. Even something great to do, you know, when things open back up and you have people over for brunch, shakshuka is so much fun. Serve it with some sliced toast and it feeds a crowd. But I really thought, how could I kind of like take this out of the box a little bit and make something fun, maybe make it a little more elegant, and so let's get to it. So what I've done is we're gonna make a shakshuka inside a puff pastry. So I have some puff pastry here. I didn't make it, you could make it. It's actually pretty easy. You could look up a recipe for rough puff. But what I've done here is just bought some at the store. And the advantage to this is that they don't make it with butter. So if you just wanna turn this into like, you're vegan or something and you really don't wanna put eggs in it, you can put whatever you want in it. It's really kind of the fun of it. So you gotta keep it really cold. So we're gonna work kind of fast. So here's my nice square of puff pastry. This is about half a piece of puff pastry. You do have to thaw the whole thing, but then, you know, you could do a dessert version. You know, it's like a crepe. You have a savory one, then you have a sweet one. So you could load this with bananas and Nutella and kind of make your own dessert version of that. So let's see, can we see that over here? There's this nice big island counter to work on. It's fantastic. So I have the puff pastry here. It's nice and cold. And inside, what I'm gonna put is, I have some a tin of San Marzano tomatoes, and I had frozen it. So I have some of this left. When you're making shakshuka, usually put in some tomato paste. So I'm just gonna put some right in here. They don't need to be cooked down. They're gonna cook in the puff pastry. So that will be great. So I'm just gonna load this in, but I always wanna think about, I'm gonna be putting in these eggs, which are gonna kind of wanna run pretty much everywhere. So I'm gonna build, and you know, I mean, I take you guys along on this ride with me. So sometimes I have no idea if this is gonna work out. So I'm gonna kind of build a little wall here, a wall for the eggs. So we probably don't have enough for a full wall, but that's fine, because I also have some tomatoes here. I just sort of wedged some tomatoes so they look nice inside, but you can chop them, do whatever you want. I'm gonna also build a little wall here and put some at the bottom. You know, use sort of how many or how few that you want, but you wanna kind of keep the edges. You wanna fold this over after and make sure you have a lot of space so that those edges seal, otherwise it's gonna kind of explode everywhere. Get back in there. Okay, so tomatoes everywhere. Gonna make a little nest here. Then traditionally in shakshuka, you also have peppers and onions. So what I've done is I have fried up some shallots here, these beautiful, made them really kind of crispy. And in this pan, I'd also fried up some chorizo. So I cooked the onions in a little chorizo fat, which is gonna be fantastic, and some peppers. I have some cooked down peppers over here. Let me just get these. All right, so I'm gonna put the peppers in with the onions. So you can see here, orange peppers, you know, like use whatever you have these days. It's winter, like nothing is that gorgeous. So whatever you can get your hands on, even if you have stuff that you've kind of canned or jarred from the summer. So I'm gonna lay this down in a little bed here. And of course I have my chorizo that I fried up. You know, nothing is gonna like get really cooked in here. So you do want to cook it in advance, and then it'll kind of like finish cooking in here. Okay, so now I've made this beautiful little bed. Let me give you a better look at this beautiful bed of vegetables. I'm gonna put in 4 eggs. Let's see if 4 will fit. Put in whatever you want. We're gonna make a great attempt at having these eggs not completely run out of here, because then the puff pastry won't seal around the edges. So I'm gonna make little kind of nests for them. I may only get 3 in here. I think I'm gonna get 3 and not push my luck. But if you were really crafty, you could probably get 4. Okay, so I'm gonna put some, I fried up some chorizo. This is kind of a traditional thing, you know, in the Jewish culture, you maybe fry up some salami and have it with eggs. So I'm gonna put that in here. If you're vegan or vegetarian, like by all means, put whatever veg you want to get creative in here. The chorizo is pretty salty. If you aren't putting anything salty in, you could put a little bit of salt on top of your egg yolks. I've been debating all morning whether or not cheese belongs in here. Now, I'm not sure that it does, but I did have this kind of nice piece of feta, one little piece left. So I thought, well, it's going in. So I'm gonna crumble that all over. It doesn't have to have cheese. Traditionally, it doesn't have cheese, but you know, these days everybody is kind of bending the rules. Okay, so now I'm gonna fold this over, but I wanna be pretty careful. I don't wanna make any tears anywhere in the bottom or everything is gonna kind of run out the side. I'm just gonna use a little juice from the tomatoes here. I just want a little bit of wet. You could use, I've done some videos in the past on some really amazing puff pastry tarts. So you really just want a tiny bit of moisture along the sides here, just so that when you fold it over, it's gonna stick onto itself. Okay, it's actually getting pretty warm, so I'm gonna go kind of quickly. It would be smart if I were to put this back in the fridge, which I may do. You really want the puff pastry to be nice and cold because the fat that they put in here, you want it to kind of expand quickly when you put it in a really hot oven. I'm gonna put my oven, ooh, I'm getting some tomatoes squishing out. That could be bad, it could be fine. We will find out. So I'm gonna take the tines of a fork and I'm just gonna press around the outside like you would with a pie, just to make sure my edges are really sealed well here. That gives me kind of the best chance at a really nicely cooked pie with nothing oozing out the side. I would recommend doing this on a flat tray. This is all I had here, kind of a braising tray. So roasting pan, but I think this would be better flat. Guys, look at this. I've made a nice decorative edge. This is a shakshuka pie. So I'm gonna cut some holes in the top here just to release some steam. So when it goes in. What I'm gonna do now is throw the shakshuka pie into the fridge for 10 to 15 minutes. I just want this to get cold again. It's great if you make sure all the ingredients inside are really nice and cooled down, chilled. That way it'll give the puff pastry the best chance of making a really nice puff. So what I'm gonna do, like I did last week, I'm gonna get this in the fridge, I'm gonna chill it down. I'm gonna post a second video about how this turns out, and we're gonna cut it, and we're gonna pray that it looks amazing inside. So if it doesn't, it will be delicious and you just don't look at it. So I hope you guys enjoy this. Check out everything we're doing, follow along, zoeford.com. You can subscribe to the newsletter. I'm putting lots of fun stuff in there, kind of a wish list of places to travel and eat when everything lightens up. Lots of fun places. Last week I had listed all my favorite pastry shops across Canada. Well, 3, that's not all. The week before I did great breakfasts around the world, places I'd love to travel to eat really, really great breakfast. So stay tuned. Thanks for all your support, and make some party food at home because, you know, what else are we gonna do? Bye.